Today I'm going to show you one of my favorite fast, easy, healthy, cheap techniques. We're going to make 3 fast batches of food in the Instant Pot without needing to wash it in between each one. Now it should go without saying, but I'm going to say it anyway. You do need to wash your Instant Pot before you start the project, and you have to wash it after you're done. You need to start with a clean pot and end with a clean pot, okay? Got it? Yeah, I hope so. First, we're going to make a batch of perfect hard-boiled eggs that peel perfectly and easily. After that, we'll just rinse out the carafe or crock or whatever you call it and make a batch of quinoa. After that, we'll again quickly rinse out the crock or carafe or whatever you call it and make a batch of lentils. And we'll end up with food for days. The eggs will keep in the fridge for about a week. The lentils and the quinoa can be kept in the freezer for basically as long as you want, as long as they don't freeze or burn. Now, I like cooking my lentils and my quinoa using homemade chicken stock as the liquid. This adds some flavor and perhaps more importantly, some useful nutrition in the form of fat and a full complement of aminos. Quinoa is one of the few plant sources that has all the essential aminos, but I figure a little extra dose can't hurt. As for the lentils, they don't have methionine or cysteine in them, so adding the chicken stock rounds them out and turns them into a complete set of all your essential aminos, plus you get a nice dose of glucosamine and chondroitin to help your joint health. Now, if you need a refresher course on how to make your own chicken stock, you can go back and review my video on how to break down a whole chicken and start watching at around 12 minutes 37 seconds. And you can, of course, just use water, or if you prefer, use store-bought stock, but I obviously prefer the homemade stuff, especially the stock you've made from a roasted chicken, as it has a little more flavor. Now, some say you shouldn't add salt to your lentils before cooking them, but my experience has been that whatever salt is in my chicken stock has never been a problem. The first thing we're going to make in the Insta without having to wash it is going to be a half dozen hard-boiled eggs that are perfectly cooked and peel like perfectly as well. We're going to need the small Insta. If you have a large Insta, that works too, and you can probably fit a full dozen, but I usually just want a half dozen at a time. You'll need the egg basket that came with your Insta. This one is going to hold 6 eggs perfectly. It'll be a little easier if you set aside 1 tablespoon of baking soda and have handy a large mixing bowl of some kind, measuring cup, and a pair of tongs. And obviously the last thing you're going to need is some eggs. Just happen to have those handy. So let's put the eggs in the egg basket. And we're going to pour 2 cups of water in here. Now, if you're using the large Insta, you might have to use more water, maybe not, but it should come up to just the bottom of the eggs. So that's probably more. Maybe you don't have to do that. I just know that with the Instas, they say you need a minimum of 1 cup of water for any recipe. So in this case, I like to use 2 just to be safe. And then we're going to put our tablespoon of baking soda in there. Once again, with the large Insta, maybe that's 2 tablespoons. I don't know. I don't think it's going to actually hurt anything, but I think most of us just want a half dozen boiled eggs at a time. I could be wrong. All right, so obviously the next thing we're going to do is put this into the Instapot and put the lid on there. And we're going to do 4 minutes high pressure, and then we'll do a 5-minute natural release. Make sure the pressure thingy-mabob, which is the technical term for it, is closed all the way. Put it on high pressure, and mine just happens to be set for 4 minutes. And that's it, let it go. And then it'll go for 5 minutes natural release when it's done. And when it gets to about 3 minutes, fill that with ice water so that it's ready to go. We want to go straight from the Instapot into the ice water bath. That's going to shock the eggs and will also help them peel more easily. Between the ice bath and the baking soda, your eggs are going to peel perfectly every time. Okay, so we'll just let that go, and I'll see you in 5 of my minutes and probably 5 of your seconds. I should probably mention, don't throw away your carton. It's going to come in handy later. Okay, the alarm has gone off. The timer is counted down from 4 to 0, and now it's going to count up to let us know how long it's been natural releasing. So I will see you in 5 of my minutes, which is probably, like I said, maybe 5 of your seconds. I'll see you then. And I got a little distracted. We were up to 8 minutes. That's okay. The important thing is that we do want to go straight from the hot Insta into the ice bath. Did the ink color on my measuring cup magically change colors? Yes, it did. Just pay no attention to the man behind the curtain. Okay, so the first thing we want to do is slowly and carefully release any remaining pressure from the thingamabob. And I'll try to do this without spraying steam all over my camera. Yeah. It's going to be ready in no time. And once you hear that steam stop hissing and the little thingamabobber here falls down, it's ready to go. Be careful because a lot of this is hot. Always open this away from you. See, it's still nice and hot, so that's good. We're going to take these eggs and we're going to go straight into our ice bath. Dunk them real good. Get them fully into that super cold water. It's that shock, as they say. It's the contrast from the very hot to the very cold that's going to help loosen the albumin skin under the shell to make them easier to peel. We're just going to let that sit for actually a long time until the ice is almost all completely gone. And then we're going to transfer them into the carton and put that into the fridge. But long before any of that, I'm going to take the carafe out. I'm going to be careful to not burn myself, remove the basket, just give it a rinse out. We don't need to really wash it. That's the beauty of this whole project, right? So I'm going to turn off my cameras again, and the magic video, I'll meet you in just a second. Okay, for my next trick, I'm going to make some quinoa. Now I have carefully, using a oven mitt, I have taken my carafe or crock or whatever you want to call it, and I've rinsed it out. You don't want to handle this when it's hot because it is going to be really hot. I don't want you to get burned. But this couldn't be easier. I'm taking 1 cup of quinoa. I know not everybody likes quinoa. If you don't like quinoa, you're a bad human being and you deserve whatever you get. It's one of the healthiest foods in the world and it's so inoffensive. If you don't like it, you're not making it right. Anyway, if you have any questions about that, leave them in the comments and I will help you see the light. Okay, so 1 cup of quinoa into the carafe or the crock or whatever you call it. And hopefully you've been watching my videos and you have some wonderful chicken stock lying around. If you don't, water will work, or God forbid, some store-bought chicken stock will work okay. But the ratio for this is 1 1/4 to 1. So I'm doing 1 1/4 cups of chicken stock. Yeah, and water will work just fine too. The same rule applies to the lentils. And we're going to take this carafe or crock or whatever you call it, put it in the Instapot. Put the lid back on there. Make sure our thingamabob is tight. We're going to do 5 minutes at high pressure and 30 minutes natural release. I'll see you in 5 of my minutes and 5 of your seconds. Now my instant cooker has come up to pressure and heat. I had it set for 5, and my wife prefers this to be 4 minutes at pressure and a 20-minute natural release because she likes her quinoa a little bit firmer. I like mine maybe a little bit softer, but because I like being married and would like to continue to be married next time I talk to you, we're going to do it her way. I'm going to reduce this to 4 minutes, and then we'll do a natural release for 20 minutes. And we've got 21 minutes now because, as luck would have it, my battery died exactly when it hit 20. So sometimes, you know, things just go your way. Anyhow, I'm going to go ahead and release whatever pressure might be remaining very carefully here. I'm going to open this lid away from me. And that quinoa looks just about perfect. We're going to fluff it up. And then I just happen to have my my containers ready. So I'm going to put this into little single serving containers. And I will not bore you with the details. I will show you that I am using hot holders to grab this because it is very hot. And I've got a few servings of quinoa ready for me. And for those of you who don't like quinoa, then just stop watching. All right, so I have put fresh batteries in my cameras. I ended up with 4 servings of quinoa. I probably could have stretched it to 5, but this is great for so little work. I'm gonna put 3 of these in the freezer, and then one of them I'm gonna eat for dinner tonight. I'll do that later though, because for now, it's time to move on to the next trick, which is some red lentils. Again, I didn't really wash this. I just rinsed all the excess quinoa out, and now I'm gonna put in 1 cup of red lentils. And this is optional. I like to put in a little piece of kombu seaweed. It kind of softens them up a little bit. Very optional. Just pop that right in. Speaking of optional, you can use water, but I'm going to use my wonderful homemade chicken stock. And the ratio here is 2 to 1. So 2 cups of bone broth, store-bought, preferably homemade though. 2 to 1. 2 cups of broth to 1 cup of lentils. I'm going to let this go for 10 minutes at high, and then I'm going to do a quick release. Okay. Pressure cook for 10 minutes and let her go. Okay, so now we've reached pressure. We're counting down from 10 minutes, and then we'll do a quick release. So I'll see you in 10 of my minutes, 10 of your seconds. Our timer has counted down. It's now at 0, and I'm going to very carefully open up this thingamabob and release the pressure. Now it's going to be very hot, and it's going to have a lot of pressure. Let's see what you're made of, GoPro. And a very impressive performance by the GoPro camera. It didn't steam up or anything, so let's carefully open this up. We always open it up away from us. And there we have some lentils. Now I should mention that with both the lentils and the quinoa, if you ever have extra liquid, which I might have here, it's hard to tell, you just let it cook off. You just let it boil off. In this case, I'm going to put the Insta on what's called the saute setting. That'll turn on the heat, and then we'll boil off some of this excess water. No big deal. These lentils are cooked all the way through. I'm gonna fish out this little piece of kombu. Careful, that's gonna be hot. And now we just kind of reduce this down. And once again, I'm going to have my containers ready to go. While all of this was happening, I put my eggs in the fridge, and the ice, as you can see, has melted down to just some little slivers. So now I'm going to transfer these eggs into the carton. Put that in the fridge. You're going to get a little water in the carton. It's no big deal. Just be careful that it doesn't soak through so much that it weakens the carton and you don't end up with a mess. I'm going to assume you're smart enough to know what I'm talking about. But now I have a half dozen boiled eggs. Those will last about a week in the fridge. And just as a test, let's try peeling one of these. See what I mean? It peeled just perfectly. And if you do the cold shock and the baking soda, I can all but promise you that that's how it's going to turn out for you. Really well peeling eggs. Move this over to the trivet. Let it cool down a little bit, and then I'll be ready to put that into my single serving things. And there you go. 3 really easy dishes with 1 Insta. And there you have it. 3 wonderful, healthy dishes made on the fast and on the cheap. You can use them however you like, dress them up and season them to your liking, or yes, in fact, you can even mix the lentils and quinoa together and heck, put a chopped egg on top. It's really not bad. Not exactly what I'd call exciting, but perfectly eatable and super easy and super healthy. And well, in the future, I'm going to continue this playlist with more super easy ways to eat healthy food on the cheap. So make sure to like and subscribe and hit the notifications bell to make sure you catch them all. But for now, it's time to wrap up this video. Thanks so much for watching. Hope to see you next time. Ciao.